Hello there, Pokemon fans. Welcome to another PlaySkape Games video. And today, it's that exciting time of the year when we find out about the standard format rotation. Um, Obviously, this year with the events being cancelled due to COVID-19, it's not as big of a deal as it normally is, but it's still a lot to digest, and we will be having events coming back soon, and obviously there's the online tournaments and stuff as well. So we're going to talk about the standard format rotation, what's happening, and some of the biggest losses that we're going to have. So it was just announced today on the Pokemon website, as you can see here. Um, what cards are rotated, and as expected, we're going to be going for a team up onwards rotation. So we're going to be losing all of the cards from the team up before the team up sets. So this includes Lost Thunder, Celestial Storm, Forbidden Light, Ultra Prism, and Dragon Majesty, plus all the promos wedged in between. And yes, pretty much all is to be expected. No changes to expanded, but we're gonna jump straight in. Oh yes, and it says the rotation will be happening on August 28th. So you can just see that August 28th is when it will be happening. So because there's no World Championships, they're not like rushing to rotate at the start of August, where it might have been on if the World Championship was or whatever. So this will be quite interesting, because it's happening on August the 28th onwards, and we roughly expect the August set, the next big set to come out in August, will be released around the 7th of August. There might be like 1 week where you can use both, if there is any events, where you can use both cards in standard format as well as on the online game as well. So that'll be quite interesting to see what kind of crazy decks people come up with with all those old cards. But yeah, we're going to jump straight into the cards themselves. So I made a nice little infographic for my Facebook page. If you want to follow my Facebook page, links in the description. Some of the main cards that we're losing, plus some honourable mentions and a few other bits and bobs. But we're going to talk for a little bit about the main three. They're in the thumbnail for the video, and yes, these three are by far like the biggest, I feel, the most impactful cards on our current standard meta. There's lots of cards that might have seen more play in the past or whatever, but these three in particular, absolutely huge. And yes, a skateboard is pretty big. The fact that a skateboard has seen so much play is purely and simply completely down to the Jirachi from Team Up. It uses its ability, it goes asleep, and then you can just retreat straight back out of the skateboard because it reduces the retreat cost by 1, and it can retreat even as asleep. So with the skateboard rotating, I expect Jirachi to see some play because we've still got Switch and Scoop Up Net to get it out of the active. Scoop Up Net's the new one from Rebel Class where you can just pick it up and put it back into your hand. But with a skateboard gone, I don't expect to see as many decks relying purely on the 4 Jirachi to a skateboard sort of classic sort of style of play that we've been seeing a lot recently. There is an awesome Galarian Rapidash that we got in Sword and Shield base set that might see some more play because you can attach an air balloon to the Jirachi, and then the Galarian Rapidash will stop your Pokemon from being affected by special conditions, I think. So you can still retreat out of it, but obviously it's a stage 1 Pokemon. We're losing Mysterious Treasure, so you can't use that to search for the Rapidash. It would only be using decks that probably run Pokecon or Evolution Incense already. So yeah, a skateboard's a big loss. Expect Jirachi team up prices to probably decrease by half, maybe more after the rotation. Yeah, and here's Malamar. Yes, so what else can you say? Malamar, busted card. It saw so much play over the past, well, pretty much as soon as it came up from Forbidden Light. It's won a bunch of tournaments. It finished second or fourth at Worlds the previous year. It's just a great card. Just being able to get multiple on the bench, just flood the energy out of the discard. It will partner so well with the Giratina from Lost Thunder. That's also rotating, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, Psychic decks have become so reliant on this one particular card, the Malamar. It's just going to be crazy to not have that in standard. Malamar's really the only sort of support, like non-GX, non-V Pokemon that still sees a ton of play in our current standard meta. So it's going to be a huge loss that going. Psychic decks. Thankfully, Dragapult VMAX, which is the next big sort of psychic attacking card from Rebel Clash, it doesn't use, it only uses 2 psychic energies, so it's not as reliant on Malamar as all of the other psychic cards that we've seen over the past 3 years. Dorwing's Necrozma, Giratina, that Deoxys from Celestial Storm, the Espeon Deoxys tag team, Mew and Mewtwo, the psychic version of Mew and Mewtwo, they all rely heavily on 3 or more energies being attached to the Pokemon. So with Malamar gone, unless we get some kind of more crazy psychic support, the only real psychic decks that we'll see play for the immediate future are the ones that need 2 energies or less, because we've got no other way to sort of boost them. So Dragapult VMAX, very strong, only needs 2 energies. You can just manually attach them and just start smacking. So Malamar's going to be a huge loss. I've lost many a game and battles to Malamar. I never really played it that much myself, but I'm kind of happy to see the back of it myself. It made all the psychic decks become extremely similar and linear. So we'll see what happens when that rotates. And last but definitely not least, the card that most people will be happy to see disappear, Oranguru from Ultra Prism, resource management guru, the bane of many, many, many tournament players' decks. You don't see it much in casual events or league challenges and stuff because most people don't play control. But as soon as you go to a big tournament, you come up against a top European or wherever you're from player that plays a stall deck, and you just lose to resource management because you run out of resources. They get rid of your energies. They just keep using resource management, and you just lose. It's been so powerful. The earlier stall decks in the Sun and Moon sets, they didn't rely on as much as Oranguru because we had Max Potion and the Hooper that stopped the GXs from attacking it, and like wall cards, and also you had Acerola. But in the past year or so, since we lost Acerola and Max Potion, Oranguru has just been such a pivotal part in a lot of these control decks. It's really only that Florges deck with the Elite Pokédolls that's not been used much in recently. So Oranguru's been huge. Chinchino Mill, as we show you on the results for the recent Limitless tournament. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 decks in the top 16 alone that rely on Oranguru strategies. So yes, that's going to be these 3 cards in particular. The Oranguru, I'm just happy to see. Not many people like playing against control decks. I personally enjoy the challenge. It's another way to play the game, but lots of casual players and the people that get like upset with gameplay and stuff easier than others really hated Control and Oranguru, so they'll be happy to see him go. But these 3 cards in particular are the ones that will be sort of missed the most from the standard format once they rotate. And then it brings us on to the Hall of Fame, the other cards that we're going to be sort of losing. So those 3 that I talked about, they're the biggest ones, but a lot of these have seen a lot of play over the past 2 years. There's some other cards that haven't been included. They're on the honourable mentions, but yes, so let's get started. Let's jump in and have a quick talk about these. The Prism Stars. So there's also Volcanion Prism. These 3 in particular, they've seen a lot of play over the past 2 years since they were introduced. Victini wasn't that good when it came out first, but all the fire decks now, like Baby Blouse, Ability Firebox, because of the stall decks as well, like the Chinchino Oranguru deck that I was talking about, they've become so reliant on using Victini to shuffle the fire energies back in the deck, and you can also do really big attacks with the Victini. So Victini in particular will be missed. Diancie Prism, there's not much fighting decks in the meta now, but every single fighting deck for the past 3 years had 1 copy of Diancie in the deck. So that damage output will be missed quite a bit, especially as we got a really cool new Sanaconda V card coming out on Rebel Clash. That will miss the damage output from that as well. And yeah, it was in all the Buzzwole decks and stuff, so another big card missing. But most people, when I did the post on Facebook about this chart, they said they'll miss Ditto Prism. They said they'll miss Ditto Prism the most. Just being able to put it in any deck, it just was a nice consistency card. You could even have a 5th Inkay if you wanted in a Malamar deck. So many decks used this. It was in all the Zoroark GX decks when after Lost Thunder came out. It was just such a big card. You obviously couldn't use Rare Candy, but it could become any stage 1, and it just saw so much play. it was just a fun card. The artwork's amazing because he's going like, "You want to fight?" like Russell Crowe from South Park. But it's just great. I love it. Ditto will be missed definitely. Moving on, we got a few more. I did a little meme here with the Giratina crying over the Malamar, but yeah, we've got a few more cool cards here. The Macargo hasn't seen as much play recently, but Macargo was a huge part of the Buzzwell decks. So many control deck, the Macargo control deck, the new Macargo GX sort of attacking deck that sprang up recently. Huge miss. Another nice sort of consistency card. I wasn't a fan of it myself because it required a lot of like little micromanaging things you had to do with it, but it was a great card and it saw a lot of play when it first came out. Quagsire saw not so much play straight away, but the Naganadel Quagsire decks were really popular. It was a nice. Now that we've got Frostmoth, Quagsire will be less appreciated, but a lot of people like Quagsire. It was a cool card, so that will be missed for those people that used to enjoy those water decks. Here's the big one, Malamar again, and as you can see there, we got Giratina, the Distortion Door Shadow. Let's see if we can bring him out. The Distortion Door Shadow impact card. Yeah, it was a huge archetype. Just using that, being able to use that Giratina to being able to use the Giratina to bring out the just keep attacking 130, 130, 130 the spread, and then using Mimikyu or Baby Blacephalon for spread or whatever else. Tapu Lady damage swap. It's just crazy. Giratina probably I would say is the best non-GX attacker we've ever had in the Sun and Moon series. Baby Blacephalon was good as well, but just this ability just made this thing so broken. So that's going to be a huge card that's missing from rotation. Naganadel, huge part of the Blacephalon GX deck. It found its way in a few other decks as well, like the Reshiram Zekrom tag team. It was just a nice little consistent. There's lots of decks could run it because it used colorless energies, and yeah. It was in the Rayquaza deck as well, one of the Rayquaza GX decks as well. So that'll be. I'll miss playing that. I did a lot of Blacephalon. Gramble. So Gramble was a deck that did quite well recently. A couple of people ran it at the Limitless online tournament. Now that Gramble's gone, there is no real easy way to keep Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia tag team GX decks sort of in check, in line. Gramble saw a lot of some play when it first came out, but it's always been around, and it's always been one that's probably like second or third like best non-GX attacker from the Sun and Moon series. It's very strong card, very strong card. Yep, Oranguru, say no more. So I got onto our GXs, and yes, my favourite card from this list, the Blacephalon GX. I played this deck so much when the card came out. It was great. It just because back then so many decks had when Lost Thunder came out, so many decks sort of had most of the GXs and tag teams only had like 200, 210 HP at most, so it was super easy using the B-String and the Naganadel that I talked about to get Blacephalon powered up. Huge cards, huge archetype. Didn't see as much play the past like 6 months or so, but it's still won a few cups and stuff here and there, so really will miss this. Really fun cards, really funky. Yeah. And we keep getting good Blacephalon, so his legacy will carry on for at least another year. Macargo GX. Didn't see that much play at all when it came out. It was sort of hyped up slightly, but not many people played it. But more recently, it's seen a lot of play in the Mew and Mewtwo GX deck to sort of mill out your opponent, or you can attack with Lava Flow. Let's see if we can get this so you can see a bit better. So, attack with Lava Flow. It saw a ton of play in the Chinchino Mill deck, which did real recently. So that'll be missed a lot in that to mill out the last 5 cards of the deck. So, and also in the new, it was a nice attacking partner alongside the Baby Macargo that we talked about earlier. So that'll be missed. It's a good card. It's a good card. I will miss Macargo. These ones slightly more niche, but Articuno. Huge part of a lot of the control decks recently, being able to use that Cold Crush to remove the energies. There isn't an easy way for control decks after rotation to sort of get rid of all the energies from the active Pokemon, I don't think. So that'll be, especially in the Pidgey control deck of Oranguru, that was a huge card. Zeraora. Pikachu's Zekrom. It didn't use their aura as much recently, but it was huge when it first came out with Pikarom because Lost Team Up came out next. It didn't seem much play straight away, but when Pikachu's Zekrom Tag Team came out the following set, it was great to have their aura to use it as a free retreater. 160 wasn't too much, wasn't too bad either. With Electro Power, you could do 190, 220, knock out Zoroarks and things. And the GX attack was quite useful. So that's I also love the artwork on Zero Aura. It's a cool Pokemon. It was introduced towards the end of the. Oh, hello. It was introduced towards the end of the Sun and Moon era, and yeah, it was a cool card. Dorwing's Necrozma, another cool psychic Pokemon, but it needed free psychic energy, so it only saw play in those Malamar decks. So you could accelerate energy onto it. You used it to jump into the active position because of its special ability, like with the old Keldeo EX. And 120 wasn't great, but people played it for the GX attack. So if you were behind on prizes, you couldn't do any damage to it. And back then, literally, it was just Guzma was the only sort of viable way to play around this, and there wasn't a VS Seeker or Eldegoss V in standard, so unless the Guzma was exactly in your hand or you had the Tapu Lele to get Guzma, yeah, very strong card. Zygarde, it may seem sort of a surprise, but it was its own archetype for as well for a while. Shout out to my friend Ryan Northcott, he loved this card, he won his first League Cup with it. It was really great. It's double colourless energy. You could really put on the pressure, especially when you had your Diancie Prism and your strong energies and all the other damage modifiers. It was a really nice card. The Alolan Ninetales, yes, this card. It saw a ton of play when it first came out. First, like 6-9 months. It was played alongside Blacephalon to get the Beast Rings. It was against Zoroark, so you can get like counter gains and whatever, because you just get 2 items when you evolve it. So it was just so useful. It was a flexible deck. I think it was played as its own archetype as well. It was played with Decidueye to get rare candies. Yeah, it was a great card. Didn't see that much play recently, but some people put it in the Zacian decks, I think. You could use it to get like metal sources and stuff. It's all beautiful artwork. The full art's one of my favourite cards from full art cards from Sun and Moon. Ultra Necrozma, again, needs a crap ton of energies, but it works so well with Malamar. And the GX attack was very, very powerful against like Lost March and things that didn't have much HP. You just use the Sky Scorching Light to completely destroy their board and just win the game. Kept a lot of sort of non-GX decks in check because of the GX attack. And yes, Rayquaza GX. I didn't get as much chance to play this as I would have liked because it got power creeped out quite quickly by all the tag teams and the stuff in Lost Thunder. But I was this close, literally this close to playing this at the 2018 World Championships. But I ended up playing Buzzwole GX. I regretted it because I had so much fun playing this deck. And yes, the only problem is now the tag teams, they have too much HP. 270, 280, now the VMAX is free. It's just you can't get enough energies on board to bloody do anywhere near enough damage for this. But it's a great card. I love Rayquaza, and the ability was really good. I want to see more like cool abilities like this. The only problem, the main thing I don't like with the VMAXs that we have now is that they don't really do much. So that's not really like in terms of abilities or cool effects and stuff. So I hope we get more cool abilities and effects back soon. So those were like the main Pokemon. There was a few honourable mentions over here that we'll just quickly look at. Just see if I get them on the screen here. There we go. Meganium. Lots of Lost Thunder cards actually. We see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Lost Thunder. Lost Thunder was an amazing set. By far, I would say Lost Thunder is the best set in terms of everything that we got from the like Ultra Prism to Lost Thunder block of cards. So many good cards. Meganium, it was a great card for like the Swampert decks for evolving up with a rare candy. Lost March, Jumpluff, fun archetype. It won a few like cups and stuff, and it did well. It's like sort of well at some tournaments. I should have put that on the main one really, but yeah, Lost March had a lot of fans. Volcanion Prism, great with Naganadel, good spread. The biggest miss for me though, from these ones is definitely the Snuggly Rat generator, the Pachirisu. I played the Snuggly Rats deck in the Latin America Internationals in Brazil last year. It's just such fun just to be able to play a deck with Pikachu, with Raichu, all the rats, the Emolgas and stuff. We keep Emolga, but this card going completely, no more Snuggly generator. It's a real shame. I wish this was Ultra, yeah, it would have been. It wouldn't have survived rotation either way. But it's yeah. I'll miss Snuggly Regenerator and a few more cards here. Yep, Zeb Striker. Before we got Chinchino, this was a nice consistency card. Saw a little bit of play in like Granbull and stuff. Shedinja, great control card. Saw a lot of play with like Oranguru. You just put Shedinja on it and just they don't take any prizes and you just disrupt them. And yeah, it was a great card. Unknown Hand. I didn't see that much play, but it was always like something to be bear in mind. And in like control mirror matches for like the old style of control decks where you weren't like using cards or milling them, you just fill up your hand with cards and just play Unknown Hand. You win the game. GG. And yeah, the Buzzwole. A lot of people said I should put this in the main list, but I didn't. It didn't see as much play in the like pretty much as soon after the World Championships, and yeah, it was a nice card, but and it was a very strong deck, but the last like 12 months has just been like complete non-existent. So yeah, it was an honourable mention. And yeah, Magnezone. There's also an electric type Magnezone. It didn't see that much play, but the metal deck was with the Dust Maiden Necrozma as well. Saw a lot of play when it first came out, literally just after Ultra Prism came out. Florges. The Dolls deck was the Lily's Poké Dolls, very strong Steel archetype. Sceptile GX, I played that at a couple of League Cups. It was a very fun deck to play. It was quite strong. You just lost very badly to, I think it was a Zoroark deck, so you couldn't do enough damage, and it was only doing, yeah, no, it was Glycopod. I lost a lot to Glycopod, and the Solgaleo promo as well. Mew and Mewtwo will miss this greatly, being able to put it in the discard and then use the Turbo Strike to do 120 for 2 energy. Big miss. So those were all of the Pokemon. There's probably some more that I haven't think of. Some people keep saying the Alolan Raticate GX for some reason. I don't know why that's not there. But White Kyurem was strong as well. The Nihilego that copied the attacks. The Shaman that healed damage. And the Venusaur deck. Lots of other cool cards. And yeah, trainers. We've got this video's going quite long already as it is. But I'll try not to ramble on too much about these. But yeah, lots of good trainers. Orderpad. Saw lots of play in Pikachu Zekrom and other decks. Mysterious Treasure, one of the hugest like misses for like specific archetype. All the Psychic decks loved Mysterious Treasure. Blacephalon loved it. Dragapult VMAX will love it for like 3 months until it rotates, and we'll see what it has to do next. B-String, oh my god, this card. B-String saw a crap ton of play. It's probably like the strong in a vacuum. This is probably like the strongest of all these item cards, but it was quite easy to play around, especially with like spread decks. Acrobike, super useful consistency card. I'm going to still be using this in a lot of decks until it rotates. Fiery Flint. This almost made like those top 4 cards that are impactful when they're rotating, because this takes Blacephalon, Baby Blacephalon, the Unbroken Bonds one, almost out of the meta straight away. It might still be good with Giant Half, we'll have to see. It was also used a lot in my favourite Greens Charizard deck, so it would be a shame to see the Fiery Flint go. Electro Power, Pikachu Zekrom, the damage output might not be good enough without Electro Power, we'll have to see. Spell Tag, Malamar Giratina, yeah, Shenanigans, great card. Netball, huge loss for the grass decks. They got Quick Ball still, but it used to also use Netball a lot to get the energy out. But we got Rillaboom, so maybe Netball won't be that big of a loss now that we got the new Turfield Stadium. Custom Catcher, this is a great card. People just completely slept on this because they had Guzma, but then as soon as Guzma rotated, like all the decks like needed to play Custom Catchers if they wanted to do gusting. The choose 2 effects as well. This and like Mixed Herbs, great cards. I wish we had more choose 2 effects. Maybe they'll bring some more back in the future. But we've got the boss's orders coming out soon, so Custom Catcher going isn't the hugest loss like straight away. And we got some tool cards. We talked about skateboard. Frying Pan, huge loss for the Zacian decks, especially if there's still going to be like Sender Scorch VMAX. Charizard VMAX, Baby Blacephalon, other fire decks, Ninetales running around, so I have to start playing Weakness Guard Energy, maybe, I don't know. Counter game, saw a lot of play with Zoroark, saw a lot of play with like the Obstagoon deck. Yeah, it was a nice way just to use Rosa or other things, or the Ninetales to search for a counter game. It was a very strong sort of card to help power up your Pokemon quickly. You could use it on your Lycanroc GX when it to do the GX of the Lycanroc like straight away, fighting energy, counter game, bang, like dead. It was a great card. I love counter game. Beast Energy, yeah, Huge miss for the Ultra Beast and Ultra Space as well. The Ultra Beast decks, apart from Baby Blacephalon, like some of the more supporty like ones like the Psychic Blacephalon, they're completely dead without like Beast Energy and Ultra Space. And Beast Ring, yeah, they're great cards, great cards. So they made those archetypes. Rainbow Energy won't be missed as much because we've got Aurora Energy now, but Spiritomb will miss it because it needs the Rainbow Energy to get the extra damage counters on if people are still playing Spiritomb decks. The stadiums, there's more stadiums. There's Sky Pillar, there's a few other like obscure ones, but I think the biggest one of these will be Thunder Mountain. We can survive pretty much fine without Shrine and Heat Factory with the main decks that are doing well at the moment, but the loss of Thunder Mountain is a pretty big one for PG Zekrom. Toxicity VMAX would have loved to have kept Thunder Mountain for a bit longer. So many electric decks relied on Thunder Mountain, and yet Heat Factory is a nice card, but it's not essential for Baby Blacephalon for like the ability fire decks, because most of the decks wouldn't run Stadium now to find it. So you're just like, oh yeah, I've got my Heat Factory, I'll play it down, I'll draw 3 cards. The Dene and the Jirachi thing, the Dene GX is more important, and the Jirachi thing of the escape board, that's more important to fire decks than Heat Factory going. And Shrine still saw some play because of the ADP decks, Pikachu Zekrom, but it's not as important now. But it was a huge card when it first came out. These went up to like £8 to £9 each, like $10 each, because only in Celestial Storm, no reprints. Very hard to pull. You've got like 1 or 2 in a booster box per average. So yeah, great card for its time. And last but not least, the supporters. The reason Cyrus is in here is just because I just needed an extra supporter to fill the row. If I remembered that Luzamine was rotating as well, this would have been Luzamine, because Luzamine's a great card. Luzamine was reprinted in Ultra Prism with a full art. Same with Lily as well. But Luzamine it hasn't been seen as much play recently, but Luzamine was a huge card in the stall decks. Cyrus did see quite a bit of play in water decks. Some metal decks would play it. It was a nice little disruption option. The 2 big draw cards. It would be sad to lose these if we didn't have Marnie and Professor's Research, and obviously Greens and Welder and stuff. But these 2 were huge. Lily was first printed in Sun and Moon, all the way back in Sun and Moon 1, but then it got a reprint, regular art, and this lovely full art in Ultra Prism. So they will be missed in terms of like more of a nostalgia reason. Cynthia still sees some play in some decks, just because of setup purposes, but Marnie is better like most of the time because you're disrupting the opponent as well. And Volkner is a huge card for electric decks. Pikachu Zekrom probably didn't need to rely on it as much, but it was a great card because like you can grab like a Stadium Lav and an electric energy and like power up a Pikarom and do the full blitz on turn 2. It was also used in the Emolga deck that I talked about, the Pikachu one. It was in a lot of electric decks. Judge didn't see as much play recently because of Marnie, but it was also huge in the Pikachu Zekrom deck, because you could just go first, attach an energy, put a Jirachi down, play Judge, disrupt the opponent before they got a chance to play anything. They've got a 5-card hand, down from 8 off they draw their card. So Judge was huge at the time. Steven's Resolve, huge control card. Has not seen as much play recently because of the turn 1 supporter rule, and there's less like full-on control decks on. A lot of the control decks now would rather focus on setting up their Chinchinos and stuff, but Steven's Resolve was huge for like the Hooper deck. There was a lot of control decks around, like weird versions. Like it was huge for the Hooper deck, Hooper Control. It was huge for like the Vileplume, stupid thing. I hate that deck so much. And a lot of these other cards. Stevens was a huge part of those decks before the turn 1 supporter rule came in a few months ago. Tate and Liza. It was amazing. This saw a lot of play in a lot of very ways. In control decks, it was a switching option, but you could draw of it as well. Yeah, it was a nice option to have. Professor Elm's Lecture made the Lost March deck because you could just get all the bits out of the jump off, and he had 60 HP. A few other control decks also used Elm's Lecture, the Pidgeotto Oranguru deck that we talked about a few times. Huge card, and I just love the artwork of having like Cyndaquil and all these Pokemon on there as well. I love that card. And last but not least, Faber. it's a nice option that a lot of decks could use just to get rid of special energies. I'm going to be playing that probably Faber more often now because Dragapult VMAX has got that horror energy, but it saw lots of play here and there. It was a great control card as well, and yeah, Faber will be missed for those decks as well. So yeah, this video was a bit longer than I would have liked, but there was a lot of cards to get through here. There's lots of other things probably that I haven't mentioned, but the big ones are the other three here in terms of like the immediate impact to the standard tournament decks, I feel. And yes, lots of other cool archetypes, lots of nostalgic decks. You all probably had like games with these cards or against these cards, and in the UK in particular, we don't play much expanded, so this will be the last that a lot of Europeans will see of these cards. So yep, sad times, but you've got 3 more months to play with them on the online ladder on the Pokemon trading card game online, which will be this Thursday. Rebel Clash cards will be coming live, so if you click the link in the description, you can go to my eBay store. I've got Rebel Clash codes as well for pre-order, so you can get yourself head up on the next set. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this PlaySkape Games video. Rotation is coming. You've still got a few more months to get ready, so sell off your old cards, get yourself ready. Please leave a comment below. What was your favourite card from all of these cards? Or maybe a card that I missed off the list. Which will you miss the most? There's so much nostalgia here. This pretty much made the majority. These cards pretty much made up the majority of my recent time as a Pokemon player. So will be missed. Yeah, leave a comment below. Click the subscribe and like button, and I will see you soon, Pokemon fans. Gotta catch them all.